Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cold Bananas Show. I'm John Hanson.
I am Mike Lollinger.
And in this episode we're going to preview June movies. Now in our summer preview episode we already talked about Hereditary, which opens on June 8th, and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which opens June 22nd. Those are both in Michael's 3 to see this summer. So rather than be redundant, we'll just say that those are both 10s on the Go Banana scale.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 for sure.
And we'll move into 5 fresh movies to talk about, starting with a movie that opens June 1st, stars Johnny Knoxville of Jackass fame, and it's called Action Point.
Yeah, this one, I have a very personal reason for looking forward to this movie, and that is it's kind of sort of inspired by a true story. There was a theme park in New Jersey called Action Park, which was also it was dubious. It had the dubious distinction of being one of the most unsafe theme parks ever. Like 6 or 7 people died there. It had nicknames like Traction Park and Class Action Park because of all of the injuries in it. And ever since I saw about that, I became obsessed with it. I started reading about all of the different crazy rides they had there, and thinking, "Gosh, this would make a fantastic movie." The point is that they're trying to avoid being shut down because of a nearby Six Flags analog that just opened up, and so he's trying to create the craziest attractions he can to draw people in. But a lot of it's inspired by rides at Action Park. They had a water slide. I don't think that Johnny Knoxville was crazy enough to recreate this. They had a water slide in Action Park called the Cannonball Loop, which was a water slide that looped at the very bottom, and it was only your momentum going down the slide that was supposed to carry you through the loop. And they tested it by throwing a mannequin down first, and the mannequin went into the slide hole and came out in 5 pieces. So I'm interested in this because of the Action Park story. I'm interested in this also because of his crazy dedication to actually going in there and hurling his body at this movie so hard that it broke many, many times. So, surprisingly, even though this isn't a huge blockbuster and it looks kind of trashy, I'm going to say that this is probably an 8 on the Go Bananas scale for me.
Okay. Also opening June 1st is a movie called Adrift, which is also based on a true story. And this one stars Shailene Woodley as one of a pair of lovebirds who sail across the Pacific Ocean and get caught in a hurricane. It looks kind of like the Pacific answer to the 2000 movie A Perfect Storm, perhaps, except with 2 people. And I kind of resent that she's doing this instead of wrapping up the Divergent quadrilogy, but it does look pretty good. What do you think of Adrift, Michael?
Well, Adrift, first, I don't think it's her. It's the studio that killed Divergent.
Okay. I'm still resentful about that.
Yeah. But my interest was piqued by the trailers for this, which is why I did some digging, and I'm a little bit less looking forward to it now that it seems like, at least in the trailers, they've diverged from the true story. The trailers all make this movie look like it's her and her significant other against the world. It's them fighting back the seas and everything like that. In real life, when they went through the hurricane, her boyfriend was tossed overboard and never seen again. And she had to survive on her own that entire time. And so I kind of resent the fact, if the trailers are accurate and they're not misleading us, that some executive somewhere decided that that story wasn't worth telling. That they decided that this character needed her boyfriend along the entire way, because I know for a fact that as far as young actresses that would be capable of carrying a movie like this on their own, Shailene Woodley is at the top of a very short list that could pull that off. So that kind of caused my enthusiasm to flag for this.
I think they will stick to the true story, and the trailers are maybe a little misleading, or possibly the boyfriend isn't really on the boat and she's just imagining it.
I hope so. If they use it as a narrative device, then that would be one thing. But if they decide to diminish her story by saying, "And he lived," and
it'd also be kind of disrespectful to the true story
yeah,
to have him live.
yeah. So I mean, I'd say 5 on the Go Bananas scale for this. I'd say it's a solid 5.
Okay. Next up, what is this? A heist movie or something, or a comedy, or horror movie? Hotel Artemis.
I think it's all of those things.
Okay.
I think that I am the target audience for this movie, which by which I mean I don't know that anybody else is going to go see this thing. It just looks so supremely weird. It takes place in the future for some reason. It involves all of these criminals staying at a hotel where Jodie Foster's sort of this weird doctor, and it might actually be like a hospital or something like that. I mean, all I know about this really is what I've seen from the trailer, and it just looks so delightfully weird. It seems like something like a line that would be put in a farce about Hollywood. Like, hey, did you see that new Jodie Foster, Dave Bautista, freaking Charlie Day movie yet? Did you see that new movie? It's like, why would I see that? That shouldn't exist. But it does, and I'm grateful for that. And I will eat this movie up because it looks strange and idiosyncratic, and hopefully it's as weird as the trailers make it seem. If it's just some standard movie with the weird stuff that they've been putting out, then I'm going to be really disappointed. I don't imagine there's much of an audience outside of people like me who see over 100 movies a year, and so anytime anything looks different, they're like, oh my god, gimme. Like, but I'll be there. I will be there for that. I will be there opening weekend for Hotel Artemis, probably because I don't think it might stick around past opening weekend. So for me personally, I would say this is about a 7 on the Go Bananas scale. Don't know what it'll be for the rest of you, but boy howdy does it look strange, so I can't wait to see if it lives up to that promise.
Okay. This seems to be the month of true stories, because I believe Tag is also based on a true story of friends who play a lifelong game of tag, and I'm a little resentful of this one because I'd rather see Jeremy Renner in a Hawkeye movie, but I guess there's no audience for that, but there is for Tag. What do you think of this one?
I did not, unlike Adrift, where I felt compelled to go and research the actual true story, this I did not do my research on. I just laugh at the trailer every time I see it. I'm in the tank for Hannibal Buress. The man is a comic treasure, and he has 2 lines in the trailer for this that just get me. One where somebody asks what time it is, and somebody says, I don't wear a watch, and his response is, time is a construct, which is just so weird, and he says it's so deadpan. Everything he says is just sort of this deadpan comic gold. The premise is utterly ridiculous, which is never a bad thing in a comedy. Also, it has Isla Fisher, and Isla Fisher is amazing, has been an amazing part of really good comedies like Wedding Crashers. Mm-hmm. And she's also been this sole bright spot in some really terrible movies like Keeping Up with the Joneses, or Confessions of a Shopaholic, which, God help me, those movies are unbelievably bad. But she's good in them. And it looks like Jeremy Renner was able to cut loose. Jeremy Renner can be a charming guy when he's not straitjacketed in drama. So, I mean, I'll be interested to see what he can pull off. So I would say that this is a 6 for me. 6 on the Go Bananas.
Okay, it's a relatively weak summer for comedies, and this is one that does stand out a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, wrapping up the month of June with a sequel to a superhero movie. Kind of a long gap between the first and second installments here, considering it's a pretty popular franchise. Incredibles 2, which opens June 15th.
Yeah, I am really, really, really looking forward to this. I loved the first one. I actually have kind of a love-hate relationship with the first one. Well, not hate, it's just that there is a level of complexity there that kind of throws you in an animated kids superhero movie, which is, I kind of sort of see where the villain is coming from in the first Incredibles.
Okay.
Like, if I could have superpowers, I would not turn my nose up at them, and I would definitely resent a group of people that were born with them saying, "No, you don't get to be part of our club." So I can understand the resentment of the main character. Or the main villain. I just don't agree with how he goes about it. The writer and director of that, Brad Bird, who got his start on The Simpsons. And then he went on to do Iron Giant, and he's done a lot of really amazing stuff since then. And also, in addition to that amazing stuff, the god awful Tomorrowland. Well, he said years ago when the first one came out that he wouldn't do the second one unless he thought he had a story to tell. And I think he has found that story. The trailers paint a picture of a family where the dynamics have been reversed, where Bob is having to stay home and take care of the kids, and Mrs. Incredible, Elastigirl, is the one who's going out and saving the day. And I can't imagine Brad Bird would have come back for this if he didn't have something interesting to say with it. So I would say Incredibles 2 is a 10 out of 10 for me.
All right. Thanks, Michael, for your thoughts on June movies. Go see Incredibles 2 and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and Hereditary. Those are all 10 go bananas. Thanks for joining us for this episode. We'll see you next time.